Evening all. From the chat
Good
already.
evening.
From the chat already, we've got Adam. He says UFOs are a psyop to cover up the development of stealth aircraft like the F-117 Nighthawk.
Well, I'm glad you addressed that point. Adam, you're wrong, but also you're right, because any unidentified flying object is a UFO.
It just means... Jim Cook says, I was hoping this episode would be about the Godrod conspiracy. Jim, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Wink, wink.
That doesn't sound like an unexplained history to me.
Yeah. Right, let's start off with... Should we start off with some weird news first so we can do our bullshits? Have you...
Yes.
Have you had any ghost sightings this week? Any gnomes or anything? Oh no, I feel like I should have some gnome sightings or something because now Zero's not.
No, I've not sighted any gnomes. I've not been bothered by any spirits. I did have a dream about riding a horse, but apart from that,
I had a dream I'd ate the world's largest marshmallow, and when I woke up, my pillow had gone.
For some reason, in this horse riding dream, I just thought there was something wrong with the reins, and I had to. It was broken in half, so I was just tying a knot in them. And whilst I was tying a knot, I was just like I was trying to say to the horse, "Don't move just yet. I'm not done fixing the reins." Then he moved off, so it's like, okay, I'll hold half of the reins in each hand.
I also had another dream about Abigail Shapiro, and I woke up and I was covered in ectoplasm, so I think it was probably a succubus. Or
that is very spooky. that is a
spooky.
Have you consulted with Geralt on this one?
I know. I need to. I think I need to.
Yeah. He's a good psychic consultant for dreams of Abigail Shapiro shitings. It's easy for me to say.
So what do we want to talk about? What do you want to talk about first? Which one of these takes your eye then, Hobbit, from
I just like
mysteries.com?
Well, the unexplained mystery of how there's this Janny that seems to be getting about on all the YouTube channels and banning Marco Coletti's spaghetti.
Yeah.
I mean, why can't he have a voice?
It's a government conspiracy.
It is. Well, two things. There's this article here from February the 4th. No, correction, the 4th of February.
Yeah, it's the wrong way round.
This is an American conspiracy as well, months first and days afterwards. It's just wrong.
Yeah.
The headline is British X-Files of UFO sightings is going public.
I was going to do
the UK.
I was going to do the unexplained mysteries first.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, that's a teaser for something that's coming up because it's been a good week to do UFOs and UFO sightings.
Do you want to do about the swimming dinosaur that was a real-life river monster? I can't do river monsters anymore, mate. Ian's broken me.
So Loch Ness is real.
Yeah, Loch Ness is not real, is it, mate? It's
real in my mind.
I want to believe.
Maybe he just swam to a lake in. Maybe he's gone south. He's gone in like Lake Como or somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, he's had enough of the Scottish people molesting him. So like, no, the weather here is shit anyway. I'm swimming south.
Yeah.
He's an expat. So one of the largest predator.
I was going to say maybe he's found an iron brew lake somewhere.
One of the largest predators ever to walk the face of the Earth has turned out to be a surprisingly skilled swimmer. With its long crocodile-like head and paddle-like feet, Spinosaurus, which grew to the size rivaling or even exceeding that of Tyrannosaurus rex, was one of the world's most ferocious predators. Citation needed. It roamed what is now North Africa somewhere around 100 million years ago. Now, a new study involving a detailed analysis of the only existing Spinosaurus skeleton has revealed that this gargantuan carnivore may have been built to swim in rivers rather than walk on land. Scientists now believe that it used its enormous tail to help propel it along while in the water, where it would have most likely hunted fish and other aquatic creatures. You know what is not good for when doing reading is when you start thinking about your reading. Like, scientists now believe. Who are these scientists? Yeah. Who are they? Do they have names? It's just like sources say, trust me. To determine this, the team built
we know the study author is, or have you not got that far yet?
Oh, well, I'm getting to that bit.
Yeah,
I'm reading it in order. To determine this, the team built a carefully constructed 3D model. Who says it's carefully constructed? Of a Spinosaurus tail and attached it to a robot that simulates swimming locomotion. By comparing the tail's performance to that of other reptiles such as crocodiles, they found it was very effective at enabling the animal to swim. This discovery really opens our eyes to a whole new world of possibilities for dinosaurs, said study author Nizar Ibrahim from the University of Detroit Mercy. What? It doesn't just add to an existing narrative.
Have they? Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was posting links. So how did they find this thing? So they found. Have they just made it up out of whole cloth, or have they found a skeleton or something?
Oh, they say they found one skeleton, and so they've been reconstructing, filling in the bits with a 3D model. And it goes on to say it doesn't just add to an existing narrative; it starts a whole new narrative and drastically changes things in terms of what we know dinosaurs could actually do. There's nothing like this animal in over 220 million years of dinosaur evolution, which is pretty remarkable. What? There's not a single mention of the plesiosaur in that. I'm annoyed by this.
Which, of course, we know lives in Loch Ness, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, UPI.com, which is the source, I think you need to do a bit less flaring it up with carefully constructed 3D models and a bit more hard data of the skeleton was found here. This is what the bones were found. How much of an intact skeleton did you find? Did you find like 10%? Did you find like a knuckle bone? Or did you actually find
its arms on back to front? Its arms look like they're on back to front.
Yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking to myself, and plus its legs, for the radio audience here, its front four limbs, they kind of look a bit like flippers that have been tucked in and bent at the wrong angle. And its hind legs look like two spindly chicken legs, which, frankly, I would say, considering how large that tail is, doesn't look big enough to support it. I think let's just face it, these are just dragons. They're dragons and they keep wanting to try us. They're trying to tell us it's dinosaurs. And I'm like, no, that's the biggest conspiracy of all. Dragons did exist, and the last one, to my knowledge, was slain by St. George.
Yep. So what do you want to do next? Do you want to do the Pentagon UFO videos only scratch the surface, or do you want to go to... I don't think I'm interested in the man who wins million lottery twice. How about the earliest case of death by meteorite?
Well, I will say one thing about the lottery prizes. I'm now convinced that's a filtration method to catch out time travelers. And this time travelers being especially stupid. I mean, if you're winning 2 lotteries in one day, you're basically saying to the glow-in-the-darks, hello, I am from the future.
So you think time travelers come back in time, win the lottery, stick it in a bank, and then go back to their own time?
Well, they think that's what they're going to do, but the fact is like the glow-in-the-darks, when they see someone win the lottery, they go and investigate them. It's like, you weren't around last month, were you? All right, off to a dark site with you. So, researchers have discovered official records stating a man in Iraq was killed by a meteorite back in 1888. When it comes to the unlikely ways to die, being hit by a fallen meteorite must come close to the top of the list. One study published in 2014 concluded the chances of being killed by a meteorite are about 1 in 1 and 1. Hang on, I'm going to do a Cyril Ramposa here. We're trying to count numbers.
1 in 1.6 million.
Yeah, we go. Because I was going to say 1,600,000.
Yeah, because the silly Yanks cock up the fucking billion, don't they? Because isn't our billion 9 noughts and theirs is less or more? I fucking don't know.
In a normal sane society, the way you count is you do the maximum those numbers will do, and then you go to another number. So after 100, we don't say 10. I mean, yeah, in theory, you could have 1000, and then you could have like 100, then that's where you go to 1,000. But 1,000 does mean 1,000. But then you have 10,000, 100,000, then you don't have 1,000, you have a million. So really a billion should be a million, because that's when you run out of...
Is that a British million a bit? Is that a British billion, a million?
Yeah, it is. And the Americans are just like, LOL, let's just add like 3 zeros to it because they're saying, well, there's 3 zeros difference from 1,000 to a million. And I think the reason they did that is because then they could have a billionaire.
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh, this person is 1,000 millionaire. Doesn't have the same ring to it. I reckon that's why it is. So yeah, according to the recently blah blah blah, the documents describe how a meteorite fell to Earth on August 22nd. No, you're doing it wrong. On the 22nd of August, 1888, and smacked into the side of a hill is what is now modern day of Iraq. Yes, that it's a real place because you can tell they didn't just make that name up. One man was struck and killed, while a second was also severely injured and ended up paralyzed. The records indicate that the lethal space rock was the murderous space rock. The evil genocidal space rock from Nazi space was one of several to have fallen within a 10-minute hate period, and witnesses in the nearby city had also seen
about meteorite speeds? I mean, I just wonder what sort of speed that fucking rock would be hitting him at.
Very, very fast.
Yeah.
I don't know how fast is fast, but it's fast enough that when you got like a cannonball-sized lump of iron hit the Earth, you get a massive crater like that one in Arizona.
Because it slows down when it hits the atmosphere, doesn't it? Because the atmosphere slows it down, doesn't it? But
yeah, I mean, there's friction there, and that's why it heats up. But at the same time, it's got all that inertia behind it that yeah, I don't know. Excuse me. I never looked into the physics of what these things do.
I found this one. This is a question. And
answer we done with this one?
No, I'm doing it as part of it. So, what maximum speeds can be expected from meteorites? So you have to know the mass of it, I think. Yeah, I don't actually get that. I've got to use the maths of it.
Not without a pen and paper, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's got kilometers a second and then something else. I don't know. I think you have to know the weight of the meteorite. But
yeah, but there's also like its trajectory, because if it's like coming straight onto the Earth, that'll be fastest, and if it's kind of sort of coming in at a shallow angle, it won't be the same. And
yeah, because
that's why we.
I suppose as well, which way the Earth is travelling might make a difference.
I mean, that's why we need hidden dark figures in the NASA to figure out the maths, because the Nazi boys weren't able to calculate the complicated maths. They needed Shaniqua from the DMV to go, you see, because I can do a budget for my family, therefore I know how to do astrophysics. Yeah.
Well, there's one here that says what maximum speed, and there's like something like 72 kilometers a second. I mean, that would do for just like a ballpark figure to be thinking about. I mean, that'd destroy anything it would. If you're in the path of that, be a gun.
Yeah, 72 kilometers a second. I mean, if you've got like a really fast bullet, that's doing 1 kilometer a second, because it is supersonic. But I mean, Concorde would be doing like 3 kilometers a second. Or
so basically, you'd have no idea, would you? You'd have no idea it hit. You'd have no idea it was coming, let alone it hit you, would you?
Well, I mean, if it's really big, you can see it coming from far away, but it has to be big to do that. So yeah, excuse me, I had a really good meal for lunch, and it's kind of weighing heavily on me. The records indicate that we said that bit. The witnesses in nearby city had also seen a fireball hurtling down from the sky, with no mention of what the nearby city is. Well, you know what? I'm gonna. Do you want to read out the last 3 paragraphs while I look up this similar thing and see what?
While the researchers are still seeking additional documents pertaining to the incident, it is believed that this is the earliest known record of a person being struck and killed by a meteorite. Almost every single event was recorded in the archives. Lead author Ozan Unsalan from Istanbul University told Space.com. I mean, if you sneeze, it was recorded somehow. Blimey, Charlie.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'm looking that. Oh, by the way, the first thing that came up was Solamnia is
Yeah.
in Manchester, and I was like, no, I want Somalia in Iraq. So it's in the northern part of Iraq, close to the Iranian border, and what would be a nearby city?
I
I mean,
suppose
you've
you'd have
got
to. This was back in the days of the Ottoman Empire, so you'd have to know the old cities, wouldn't you?
well, the nearest city I can see in the west is Kirkuk. So you got that, and then there's no, that's a fairly small place, but east in Iran, you've got Mariwan.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. There's could be the thing. Oh, my life says the Tunguska thing. I'm not sure if that was.
We've got an actually in chat. I went
Oh, yeah.
actually from Forza Blanquito. He says sorry to be pedantic, but a meteorite is a meteor that has hit the Earth, so would have no speed. A meteor would have speed.
I I do always wonder what's the difference between a meteor and a meteorite. I thought like a meteorite sounds like a small meteor that burns up before
What
it
was that
hits
other
the
thing I
Earth.
found while I was googling? I can't remember what it was. There's a meteoroid. So a meteoroid.
Oh, what are you,
That's,
you pleb, still using Google for? I use DuckDuckGo like a true dissident.
I use Google as a verb. Obviously, I don't use
Oh, yeah.
Google. Nobody uses Google. Because if you want to find something, there's no way you're going to find it, are you? Google. After you've waded through the first 3 pages of fucking adverts for shit that you don't actually want.
It's a shame that Google went to all that effort of being like a useful tool, gained a monopoly, and then they were just like, no, people are using this useful tool to search up hatethink.
Yeah. Here you go, LOL. We're just going to fucking destroy search results.
Oh, hate speech. When I was talking earlier about the murderous genocidal rock, it's the Holocaust rock.
He also says the cunt's right. I don't know what he's talking about or who, but I think he's talking about the actually.
What is it? I always try and when I see the cunt, I just like, I must be talking about me. Just automatically assume.
Oh dear. So where are we? It was a gay post.
Oh, I tell you what, the one which you told me about, new video shows dolphins glowing in the ocean.
There you go. Dolphins work for the CIA. Confirmed.
Dolphins glow in the dark. That's how you can see them. So, photographer Patrick Coyne, I assume Coyne is some sort of Irish name, has captured incredible footage of dolphins swimming in bioluminescent waters. What? Oh, well, then it's not the dolphins glow in the dark, it's the bioluminescent algae. The ethereal scene, which could easily be mistaken for something out of a science fiction movie, was filmed recently in the ocean off of California's Newport Beach.
Yeah, that would be great.
Coyne.
These glow in the dark dolphins, that'd be a great science fiction movie, wouldn't it?
Glow in the dark dolphins. We want the Newports from California's Newport Beach. Coyne or coin, and for the
Irish, isn't it?
For the radio listeners, that is spelled COPOTATONE, who had previously seen glowing dolphins on a Netflix documentary, had been keen to capture the phenomenon for himself, and had spent hours searching after dark for a sign of the animals. Hang on, he's potato. We were out for a few hours on our final stretch back here, finding our 2 dolphins pop out and start the incredible glowing show, he wrote on Instagram. A few minutes later, and we were greeted by a few more, which was insane. I'm honestly still processing this all. Despite appearances, it's not actually the dolphins themselves that are glowing. Instead, they are swimming through concentration.
They actually said that for further up with the people who have an IQ above room temperature.
Well, that's why I've always wanted to go visit the Azores, because they've got bioluminescent algae, and you can see it at night because it glows in the dark.
Well, that can't be algae. That must be something else that's bioluminescent in that water. They must
plankton, algae, or it's when there's motion nearby, they glow, and so when there's like waves rippling on the beach, it causes it. I mean, I tell you what, if you want a good video to test your bandwidth, the YouTube's video compression, look up glowing beaches Azores. Unfortunately,
have you had a look at the video?
No, I haven't, because I'm
for the audience. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm still reading, what's his name, Patrick Potato's messages here. Despite appearances, it's not actually the dolphins themselves that are glowing. Instead, they are swimming through concentrations of microscopic bioluminescent organisms called dinoflagellates, so plankton. When disturbed, each cell emits a flash of light lasting mere milliseconds. When a pod of dolphins, that's the collective noun for dolphins, swims through a large number of them, it can produce quite the light show. You can check out footage of that Queenie captured below. And there you go, audience. Look at them dolphins, they glow in the dark.
Glowing in the dark.
Forza
Which
Blankito.
the audio audience will be swooning over.
Forza Blankito says, actually, you mean porpoises? No, because I can't pronounce that word, so that's why I'm saying dolphins. And then he goes on to say something, bioluminescent man fat would be a great way of never getting the wet spot. Okay. He explains what man fat is. That's population porridge or paste for the audience. Yeah. So,
what story do you want to do next?
I want to do the related one, seeing as chat's talking about this.
Oh, what does Iran have a pod of Soviet killer dolphins? Yeah, we've got to do that.
Why, yes.
Or do you want to do the US Navy dolphins set to help save porpoises? I think it's the Iran one sounds better, doesn't it?
The idea of Persian dolphins with freaking lasers on their heads.
Frickin' laser beams.
It turns out that there's a possibility, albeit a small one, that Iran's navy includes trained dolphin assassins, says Rabbi Shekel Goldstein Blattowitz. As far back as the 1960s, militaries around the world have been dabbling with the idea of training dolphins to attack, sabotage, or spy on their enemies. Russia in particular was notorious for its dolphin-based military products, and according to reports, some of the animals it trained to kill enemy divers may have since ended up in Iran. Well, not in Iran, because if you look at Iran, it's fairly arid. Around Iran would be more accurate. Again, these journalists need to step up their game. The story goes on that in 1991, the collapse of the Soviet Union, a unit of military-trained dolphins was sent to the Crimean Peninsula, where they were taught to attack enemy frogmen with harpoons and to blow up enemy... What, so the dolphins had harpoons? Or are they saying the frogmen had harpoons?
Which bit are you reading?
So I'm on the bit that says the story that goes that in 1991 after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And it's like, you see, again, editorial stuff, you need to look at this and go... Yeah, we could do with a comma there to sort of say that the harpoons belong to the frogmen, and not that the dolphins are attacking the frogmen and harpoons.
Would you really want to go through that trouble just train a dolphin just to go and blow up a ship kamikaze style?
Well, I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking of the sort of people that spend a lot of time with dolphins. And there was this there's this podcast called The Hate Bus, and it was one of their recent episodes. They mentioned the story about this man who lives in Florida, and he's got a coin clipperish name, and he's done he's published a book about animals he's loved, i.e. molested, and he's talking about, I used to have sex with this dolphin, and this dolphin seduced him.
Oh well, no, I know. This is something I know about dolphins. Male dolphins can get pretty horny with women. Do you know about this, Hobbit?
Dolphins are pretty horny. I know.
Yeah.
This.
Apparently, I don't know. I can't remember what film it was, but Bo Derek had quite a bit of trouble with a dolphin when she was trying to do some filming with it.
How can that be? What are you going to call your child? Boo. You can have any more syllables?
She was Nordic, I think.
Bo. What's her name? Bo.
Bo.
What? So she was like Grug Nordic parents. What name for female child? Bo.
It's short for something.
Grug-like name. Oh, actually, the story goes on later to explain. The last bit says, as things stand, geriatric dolphins armed with harpoons are probably the least of our worries. They're saying that dolphins can live up to 50 years. It's possible some of them are still around. Yeah. Oh, Jim Cook says the harpoon they used was like a hypodermic needle that contained compressed air. So it stabbed you, then inflated you and caused your body to rupture. I remember a few years ago there was talks about these killer knives going around in London. These knives which are, just magically float around in midair and seem to stab people without any person holding them. That's always the thing. These stories always focus on the knives, not like the diversities holding them. But the thing about the knives is they were called a bare defense weapon, and they would have a canister of carbon dioxide and a pressure release valve, so that once the knife was fully immersed in the target, it would release the carbon dioxide in one go. So it would go into the wound and blow it out. And they were saying how these knives need to be banned because they were just like people getting stabbed and having like horrific wounds, which sounds pretty metal if you ask me. But yeah, so they're called bare defense knives, and they had the same sort of technology. The Russians trained dogs to lay under tanks with bombs on them. Unfortunately, they trained using Russian tanks with hilarious results. Yes, they did. How come you've got adverts on your one? I gotta get.
I need to get using? This is just I only use. This isn't my main browser. I use a browser that I don't normally use to show these, which means.
Oh yeah, I was going to say Yeah. So, what else we got? Just ran off. Yeah, Plague Doctor terrifies victims.
Oh, no. That sounds like a good one. It's a bit like the Gimp Man story, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Oh, excuse me. And let's see, the Dr. Schnabel von Kahn. Police in the UK are seeking an individual dressed in full Plague Doctor attire, complete with the pointed beak mask. I'm told the idea behind that is the mask could be filled up with sweet-smelling herbs, so you wouldn't smell the death and decay around you. And it was based on the malaria.
It so fucking creepy. That's the weird thing, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of this idea of like, you're going to die, so here's. Yeah, that's a good question. That I'm not really sure.
Is it sparrows? Is it sparrows are like a harbinger of? Or there's myths about the sparrows taking your soul off, aren't there?
Probably. I don't. Oh, excuse me. It was a really good meal, by the way, audience. It was nachos with fried minced beef, fried bacon, onions, fried spring onions, chilies, salt, pepper, garlic.
Celtic Crusader, Bob's Virgin, Derek.
Yeah.
Is that what Bo's short for? Bob's Virgin. Apparently there's a thing. Apparently there's a thing where dolphins, for fun, get baby porpoises and like flick them between each other and impale them on their snouts, don't they?
Oh, and they also like. I think they like to annoy pufferfish, and when they puff up, they kind of prick themselves on them, and they get high from it. So they give little nibbles to pufferfish. So yeah, police in the UK are concerned about a man dressed up for the lulz, but keeping yourself protected from any airborne pathogens during the coronavirus pandemic is certainly an important consideration when venturing outside. However, one person in the town of Helston, England, has taken things a little bit too far by opting for a full 17th century plague doctor costume. Citation needed on how he's taking things too far.
Yeah, especially
The
by the way they're trying
eerie
to scare
attire.
us.
Yeah, I mean, he's just playing. If you listen to the news, this is the appropriate attire. The eerie attire. No, the
Norwich.
Holocaust.
Hellersden is
The
in Norwich, mate. In case you needed to know.
okay. The eerie attire, which consists of black robes, a black hat, and a pointed beak-like face mask filled with aromatic items, was widely used by doctors to treat infected patients during the bubonic plague, as it was thought to act as a filter against the putrid air responsible for causing the disease. And that's why we have the fear of malaria. It just means bad air, mal air. The costume came to be feared during outbreaks, as it was perceived as a sign of imminent death. As such, it's no surprise that people might object to someone wearing it during the current crisis. The mysterious plague
Stash
doctor.
wants to know if you've got one of those suits.
Hobbit have a full suit. No, well, I can neither confirm nor deny these sorts of allegations. He's the mysterious plague doctor, who's been seen several times over the last 2 weeks, has now been sought by local police who would like to offer a word of advice regarding his or her attire.
Well, I think if I was him, I'd be offering 2 words of advice to the police.
Well, would one of them be off?
Yes, the second one.
Yes. Officers, however, were keen to emphasise that no crime has been committed. So what's it got to do with them then? It's quite... Oh, so here we go.
So we'd like a word with you to talk to you about a crime that isn't a crime.
Yeah, what, like hate crimes? It's quite a smart-looking costume, said historian Danny Buck from the University of East Anglia. It's important people realise that in 17th century plague doctors were the brave ones who went out to see people with the disease. And that's it. That's the story. Here's one which pertains to Hollow Earth. Here we go. This could be when we start filling in the tunnels full of these Satanists. Lockdown is causing Earth's crust to fall silent. Scientists have revealed that the Chingchonkoff lockdown has reduced the level of vibrations in the Earth's crust. With most people being forced to remain indoors during the ongoing pandemic, things are certainly quieter these days. Recent reports have revealed that the reduction in activity has resulted in a marked reduction in pollution levels over many of the world's biggest cities, and it now appears as though the Earth's crust itself may also be experiencing a level of quiet on the scale that is typically only seen on Christmas Day. Normally, the vibrations produced by cars, factories, construction works, and humans simply going about their daily business causes the planet's outer layer to vibrate or hum. Now, however, seismologists at the Royal Observatory in Belgium have reported a significant reduction of vibration levels, up to 50% in Brussels, since the country went into lockdown. Similar reductions have also been reported in major cities across the world. This quiet period is not only making it easier to pick up signs of smaller earthquakes, but has also highlighted the impact that our lives collectively have on the planet as a whole. Every individual thinks he is alone at home, but altogether we are making something big for the seismic environment. And we can probably learn a lesson here for other parts of the environment, so as Thomas Lecoq told The Independent. The reason that we are at home is terrifying, but in the future maybe some critical number of individuals change their ways, avoiding single occupancy car commute. Oh, for fuck off, Lecoq. I mean, it is something when we're talking about, like, yeah, the world's quiet, so we'll now be able to use seismology to detect where these hidden caverns are full of, like, the rape programs. And instead of doing that, it's just like, oh yeah, maybe we can switch off the light bulbs and maybe turn your thermostat down a bit. Save the Earth. No, fuck off. Yeah, save the horny dolphins.
Yeah. Did you want to do this one? Are we a product of a self-stimulating unit? Is that a self-stimulating universe? Did you want to do this one, Hobbit?
I think I might be the product of a self-stimulating universe.
That's easy for you to say. It's just as easy it was for me to say.
I know. Oh, good. The fire's good. It was just, I thought the fire had gone out, and it's going again because I was starting to get a bit chilly. Self-stimulating universe. Oh, sorry. I just go back one page trying to find this thing. It says, "Here's how to hunt for Nessie during lockdown. Step 1: talk to Ian. Step 2: realize you're not allowed to go outside. Step 3: give up." Go on, you read this one.
A new hypothesis has put forward the notion that our universe may be self-simulating itself into existence. What the fuck does that mean? The idea is that we could all be living in a computer simulation, a concept popularised by hit movie The Matrix. It's certainly nothing new, but now scientists at an LA-based theoretical physics institute have taken things one step further with a new hypothesis that is sure to leave you scratching your head. I mean, if there's somebody I trust, it's definitely someone from Los Angeles. You can't trust anyone more than someone from LA, can you, Hobbit?
I mean, this idea that the universe is a figment of our imagination is nothing new. It sort of goes, but at the same time, I do believe this. I think that once we pay attention to things, that's when it starts to exist. I mean, there's the old.
It is kind of true, isn't it, Hobbit? Because what we see isn't actually, what we see is kind of made up, isn't it? Because what we're having is it like different frequencies bounced back at us?
Well,
I mean, like that sight is something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, we never see the photons because when they go through the air, those photons they're hitting the molecules. And then they're bouncing off of that, and then that excites the electrons in those atoms, and then that gives off another photon. So the original photon has been changed countless times since it hits your retina, because it's also got all the material of your eyes to get through before it goes into the retina. And then it's electrical impulses, which can be manipulated. But what I wanted to say about this is there's that old philosophical maxim of, if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, does it exist? Or does it make a sound? And the thing is, it is a good question. I mean, you can sort of be very flippant and say, yes, it does, because when trees fall, they make a sound, but no one's there to observe it. The Schrodinger's cat thing is yet another example of the observer affecting the outcome. The double slit experiment shows that the observers affect the outcome. So we have numerous bits of evidence to say that, yeah, in fact, the universe is a figment of imagination, but it's a very real figment of our imagination. And just because I wish like there was more money in my account, or certain other things, you can wish for material things, but it doesn't exist. I was going to say I wish to be happy. I wish to have a wife, but a wife is material things and is unrelated to being happy. In fact, some would say it was the opposite.
Can confirm. Oh dear, she's going to listen to this one.
Sod's law would be, the missus would hear it, but tell you what, it must be nice to share a bed with somebody and wake up to have their farts in your face.
Or you wake up. Farts are horrible.
Yeah, can confirm. You wake up and it's like, oh, I'm cold. Oh, yeah, that's because all of the blankets belong to you.
Or you're in bed first. Or you're in bed first, and then they get in with their cold feet to walk, and then they go, "Oh, look, you're nice and warm. Warm my feet up." Have you ever had that experience of it?
You ever had it on your bollocks? I mean, that'll wake you up. Yeah, it's just like, oh, you're lovely and warm. Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think we're straying off the path now, Hobbit. So what do you think to all this Matrix, stuff?
What, the film or the idea that it's a simulation?
The theory that we're in a simulation. Are we in a gloopy vat of cum like they are in the Matrix, or what?
Yeah, I'd rather not. It was that sort of thing, but it's one of those things where I think to myself, yeah, it could be true. It might not be true, but either way, it doesn't really affect my day-to-day life. I mean, how does it make me happy? How does it give me a fulfilling life? I mean, if it is, can't I just do a hack to delete the undesirable parts of the demographics? And can I do another hack to just put an extra few zeros in my bank account? So, you know, if it is a simulation, basically I'm saying I want access to the cheat codes.
Have you done Here's How to Not Hunt for Nessie during lockdown? Is that the one you did earlier?
Oh, I summed it up without even reading the article.
Yeah.
Step 1, talk to
watch
Ian.
our episode.
Step 2.
Just watch our episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Step 2, don't bother.
Yeah, that's even simpler than mine. I was going to say 2, realize you're not allowed outdoors unless it's for shopping. It's just like, we're just going on a 460-mile round trip to Lake Ness to because I need those shortbread, which you can only get from the Loch Ness souvenir shop. Can't get shortbread anywhere else.
US Space Force acquires first offensive weapon. Have you done the second page of it?
Oh, okay. We're on page 2 then. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, I'm going to read this. Oh, please tell me it's internet racism. The newest branch of the US military has taken delivery of its first weapon, but it's probably not what you think. Please be racism. Please be racism. Please be racism.
No.
Back in June 2018, US President blah, blah, blah. Then in March of this year, the first Space Force satellite was launched, a critical communications platform that would enable the president to remain in contact with other countries no matter what. Since then, it has been revealed that the fledgling branch of the US military has also acquired its first offensive weapon, a satellite jamming array capable of blocking enemy access to military satellites. Oh, wow. Okay.
Is that
it? I mean, if you want to read the rest, by all means, go ahead, but I'm so disappointed.
I was hoping it was a big fuck off laser.
Yeah, where's the freaking laser beam?
Yeah.
Why can't we have anything interesting?
Yeah, why haven't we had lasers? Why haven't I had fucking hologram phones like I've been promised by every single science fiction thing ever?
I want pew-pew laser guns.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this boring shit. CCS has had incremental upgrades.
You want to read this
so
one
CCS,
a bit further down? Approaching asteroid is wearing a face mask.
Yeah. UFO emerging from an active volcano. Could earthquake explain sites?
That'd be a fake or it's usually an artifact on a digital camera, isn't it?
Well, this is the thing that annoys me about UFO sighting. It's just that there's a lot of all right. To use this analogy, I think I said it before the stream was. You've got aircraft and they have a radar signature, so you could use radar-seeking missiles to lock on to the enemy and shoot them out the sky. So as a defensive measure, the aircraft deploy a chaff, which is a screen of radar-reflective particles.
I know all about chaff, Hobbit. I watched Airwolf when I was a kid.
Ah, there you go. I've been... It's funny you mention Airwolf because I've been watching... Dr. Mix, he's been trying to recreate the Airwolf theme tune, and he's sort of going in great detail for all the instruments on it. So I've been listening a lot to the. Yes, great.
Are you going to do one then, Rob? Are you going to copy him then, Hobbit, or can't you?
What, do deconstructions? No, I need to actually be a competent musician that can understand what's going on with the sounds. Making my own compositions is a lot easier. Yeah, I want to do the UFO filmed emerging from an active volcano. Oh, but my point I was saying here is that the chaff which is deployed confuses the lock-on, and then the missile goes astray rather than hitting target. So in this case, the target is actual real UFOs which aren't part of a military gay ops program, sort of glow-in-the-dark program, or something like that. There are real UFOs. What I mean to say is there's the real UFOs of alien origin which aren't built by man. So yeah, a short video clip showing a glowing object flying out of volcano has been recently...
So glowing object flies out of volcano.
What could that be?
I think we've solved this one of it.
Well, do you want to click on the video and
I'm playing it now. Basically, the volcano goes doesn't it? It's basically
Volca-
TLDR, isn't it?
volcano goes pop and a fireball comes out.
Volcano goes pop fizz.
Yeah, pop and fizz.
Yeah.
Hate speech says it looks more like a tit.
I think
I don't know what tits.
I was looking at the face mask thing. We'll have a look at that again in a minute.
I mean, if you've ever seen the Mount St. Helens eruption, because there was so much carbon dioxide locked into it. By the way, the eruption of Mount St. Helens emitted more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than the past 200 years of industrialization. Yeah. So, what does that tell you?
Are we going to ban Are we going to tax volcanoes now then?
Well, if Greta Thunberg is really serious about this carbon dioxide being the poison to kill us all, rather than being something that, is essential for life. Oh, that's fucking gay. Anyway, suffice to say, what this is it's the Mount St. Helens eruption. The volcano, when it explodes, it can send out ejecta hundreds of miles? No, hundreds of miles would be space. Yeah. But it can, it's pretty good.
Given that we were talking about Hollow Earth the other week, so then you got so how do you explain volcanoes? Is that just is there a bit of lava in the crust between our outside Earth and inner Earth, or?
Well, I mean, the way I was thinking of it is that you've got this crust. I mean, if you imagine like it's a donut or a ring donut, and you've got the inside of it and you've got the outside, and then inside it's all compressed from both the outer surface pushing in and the inner surface pushing. So all this compression causes lakes of lava, which occasionally
friction,
well, is compression as well. So when compression is a type of friction, because I was thinking like when you compress gas in an engine, it's the friction of those atoms.
Well, I'd say it's got to warm up, hasn't it, to cause the friction, hasn't it? So it's got to warm up, so it must kind of rub in some way, mustn't it, to warm it up?
Well,
or you just saying the compression is causing it to warm up, to heat up.
Well, compression again is friction, because you're making things which were further apart be squashed in together.
Oh, right.
And that's why it warms up. So before you get onto that article about the asteroid wearing a face mask,
that looks like a tit.
The tit, it does. That is a very prominent nipple on that pointy 1950s movie.
I don't suppose they could have led with asteroid looks like a tit, could they?
Asteroid looks a bit like a tit. Yeah. Titty asteroid. Big boob in sky.
It's like the feminists aren't watching this one, otherwise we'll get in trouble again.
But the thing is, I mean, I may be wrong about Hollow Earth in that it may just be, I want to say more mundane, it may just be cavernous Earth, and there is a mantle underneath. But I'm still willing to entertain the notion that there's an inner Earth with a surface and it's got a twilight star in it. Yeah, do this booby.
It's a mammogram.
For me to say.
It's a mammogram, says HP.
It is. It looks like an ultraviolet sound.
Yeah, I just think they did. Do you reckon the journalist meeting was like, yeah, this approaching asteroid looks like a tit. Well, you can't say.
Come on,
tit,
we got to make
you?
it topical.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty boring.
You don't even need to read the article. It's just like, hey guys, have a look at this asteroid. It looks a bit like a booby.
Oh, look at that! Look, there's the tweet. So these incredibly intelligent people had to try on a face mask to make it look to show you. Yeah, that's pretty rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you want to do the Hubble celebrates its 30th birthday with new image?
Yeah, that sounds like a good one. You're on page 2.
Yeah, still. It's the next one down from that one.
Oh, sorry, I see another article. So, Hubble celebrates 30th birthday with new image. And here we go. So, well known for its breathtaking snaps of distant nebulae and other spectacular stellar phenomena, The iconic telescope has been our window into the universe for the past 30 years.
Didn't they put the wrong lens on it to start with? You're not old enough to remember when the Hubble was launched, are you?
I am old enough to remember. That's the thing.
Didn't they fuck it up the first?
What happened is when it launched up into space, there was a bit of a ripple caused by the vibrations of the launch, and it caused some slight deformation to the mirror, which collects it. So they sent out a space shuttle with a corrective lens. So effectively, the Hubble Space Telescope has got a spectacles, well, rather a monocle, to correct its vision. Yes, sorry, mate. The Hubble Space Telescope's got astigmatism, but here's a corrective lens to fix it. So the Hubble Space Telescope's had a prescription lens delivered to it. It's easy to forget that at one point it looked as though the mission was going to be a disaster. When it was originally launched in 1990 aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery, the telescope was found to have a fault with its main mirror that stopped it from being able to obtain sharp images. Yeah, astigmatism.
That looks fake as fuck. That doesn't. Oh no, that's because it is live satellite map.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I haven't got that far yet because there's like a 6-second delay on YouTube. The unfortunate flaw resulted in Hubble being considered something of a white elephant. However, scientists worked long and hard on a solution which culminated in a manned service mission to the telescope so that astronauts could install a system to correct the mirror's spherical aberration. So yeah, they gave it a monocle for its astigmatism.
The Discovery, was that one of the ones that blew up eventually or not?
I think that was Challenger.
And Columbia. Didn't Columbia blow up as well?
I think Challenger had some Jewish astronauts on board, so it's
because one of them had a seal on, and I watched the like air crash investigation on the other one. The other one, like a bit of foam broke off and hit the wing.
So that's right. From its orange fuel tank.
That's it. Yeah. So, but they didn't know until they started flying back, and that's when it blew up. It blew up on re-entry because Challenger blew up on takeoff, didn't it? And then the other one blew up.
I think it's truly terrible and anti-Semitic of space and God that you've got the first Jewish astronauts trying to go up in space and it blows up. That's a hate crime. The unfortunate flaw resulted in Hubble. Yeah, we said that. The fix proved a tremendous success, and the telescope is still going strong today. This week, in celebration of its incredible legacy, Hubble released a stunning new image of Cosmic Reef, a star-forming nebula situated 163,000 light-years from Earth. It is just one more reminder of how the telescope has revolutionized our view of the cosmos. Now, there is an article here I want to get on to. Have you seen this one? It's on page 2, right at the top. Nazareth inscription, Jesus link now in doubt.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about that one, yeah?
Yeah, because when people say to me, Jesus was a black man or he's swarthy med, and I'm like, no, he's not. Pontius Pilate commissioned a description and a profile of his likeness to be engraved on an emerald. An inscribed stone tablet dating back 2,000 years may not be about Jesus' body as was previously believed. Known as the Nazareth inscription, the tablet is inscribed with a warning in Greek writing that threatens grave robbers or anyone caught desecrating graves with capital punishment. It was acquired by German collector Wilhelm Flochner in Paris in 1878. However, aside from a note indicating that it had come from Nazareth, its history has remained something of a mystery. Due to its age and links to Nazareth, researchers have long speculated it may have been created by Roman authorities in response to the disappearance of Jesus' body from his tomb, something that was seen as evidence that he has risen from the dead. Now, however, a new geochemical analysis of the tablet has called this idea into doubt. By studying samples of powdered marble for stable carbon and oxygen isotopes, scientists have been able to trace the origins of the tablet itself to the Greek island of Kos.
It's funny that, isn't it? You can work out a stone tablet is from the Greek island of Kos, but you can't work out whether someone's actually from the British Isles or not. Thank you, face.
Well, that's a very complicated subject and blah blah blah. And for our radio audience, where the of COS is spelled K, Feta, and Tarasimilata S. This suggests that rather than it being about Jesus, it was actually created after locals desecrated the tomb of Nicaeus, an unpopular official who died on the island sometime in the 30s before Christ. Excuse me, audience, I need to sit up in my chair and it's going to be noisy.
That's not too bad, actually. Just a minor squeak.
Maybe I need to set up like a charity of chairs for racists, because every year 6 million audience members are traumatized by the sound of hobbits creaking in their cheap chair. We believe that is the first time-stable isotope chemistry that's ever been used to establish the provenance of an inscription. Period. All right. Said lead study author Carl Harper of the University of Oklahoma. Oh, he's colonial. They do that thing with their sentences where they say periods instead of full stop because Americans are obsessed with menstruation cycles.
Yeah.
We got lucky twice over. Oh, hang on. He's colonial. We got lucky twice over. First, it was a very direct match with a rather unexpected apple quarry, so we could really pinpoint its origins on coast. Second, it happened that we know of an episode of a tomb violation that was very famous in the exact right period. I would have never hoped for such a remarkable alignment. That's how.
But they won't tell you what the inscription is, though. What do you know what the inscription is? Then do you know this story?
No, I don't know much about it. I've seen an article here which is going to be for my no, I'll talk about it afterwards. I'll post the link in the thing.
Yeah.
Actually, it could tie into woo woo. The headline says Egyptian board game used to contact the dead. It's not a Ouija board. It's got dice and counters on it. But
I haven't got that. I can't see. Yeah, I can see that one.
Yeah, that's for another time, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm like I said, I think it would be nice if we had a show talking about games and board games and stuff like that.
We're thinking of doing that on your channel, aren't we, Hobbit? Don't forget to subscribe to Fremen on the Sand.
My good friend Fremen on the Sand, yes, you channel, and if we can get it set up, I'll be a co-host on it, talking about board games. Always the co-host, never the host.
Yeah, always. Why is Hobbit always the host but never the host?
I mean, fingers crossed my bandwidth is actually up to it, because as we did those tests, mine is worse than yours.
Yeah, I think you'll be alright as long as you do. I think StreamYard.
Oh no, it's the Insane Asylum. They're doing the.
Did you see? Speaking of that, and this is a little bit 14. Have you seen that one where the TikTok video where they're carrying the corpse through the corridor?
Oh, are they doing the African coffin song?
I thought that looked a bit satanic to me.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on in this, and I would believe a lot of this is I can't concentrate with the clapping. Can you just talk for a bit whilst
I've got the shut.
No, it's just my neighbours right next door. They found the most obnoxious. They got the pans out.
Oh no!
We got dogs nearby, and they're barking as well.
Oh blimey! Should we do this one while you can't really hear? Could earthquakes explain the sightings of Nessie? No.
No. Moving on.
We've been over this one, we know. Shackleton's lost ship. I think I mentioned that last time.
Yeah, we're getting into last week's news.
Yeah. Can you still hear it, Hobbit?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's still going on.
Oh, dear.
I mean, I noticed how they call in the disease and the virus was different HIV. And I'm thinking, one of the symptoms of the disease is a desire at 8 o'clock to start making a load of silly noises.
Right then. So we're going to start some content. Did you want to start? You want to start with the British X-Files of UFO sightings, didn't you?
I mean, I could do, but again, I'm being distracted by noises.
Is it still going?
Yeah,
And now you're making your own noises.
yeah, pretty much. Got to get some air into the fire. Oh, thanks, Punk Bastardo. I'll tell Fremen on the sand that you're subbed. Alec Hiddle said Cheddar Man was black. All you white folks is immigrants, so you have to be nice to immigrants.
Jim Cook says we have revving cars and all fucking sorts round here. Crazy.
They're screaming now. NHS sluts.
Jesus. I mean, how many TikTok? I mean, there must be TikTok videos that like neither, one scene but not the other. There are absolutely hundreds of these TikTok videos. Shows how busy they are, doesn't it?
I've heard that in parts of Birmingham and Manchester, the celebrations at 8 p.m. are so exuberant you can even hear gunshots and fireworks.
Right, so where did you want to start with this? Did you want to start with the British X-Files of UFO sightings?
I mean, we could start with that one. That's probably a good one. But the thing I wanted to say is that today and yesterday, I noticed that there was the Pentagon have been releasing footage of UFO sightings. So we decided last week, once we'd done the crop circles, that a good episode to tie into last week's one would be UFOs, because let's face it, it's not a bloke with some planks and string going around in the circles. It's a flying object with probably microwaves that are flattening the stalks. So what better way to follow on than talking about UFO sightings, especially around crop circles, because there are increased UFO activity around crop circles. And if you see a UFO in the sky, try and figure out what part of the sky it is, and then go and investigate nearby fields of crop circles.
And if you do see a UFO, it's probably not the UFO, it's probably swamp gas over Venus.
It's always swamp gas from Venus.
Or ball lightning. That old ball lightning that appears, every 5 minutes. You just can't get rid of it, can you? Ball lightning. It's just
it's
around.
Ball lightning generated by the swamp gas in Venus.
Yeah.
So yeah, British X-Files, UFO sightings is going public. Now the thing is, I don't actually think this is news, because I remember seeing something like this years ago, but this is dated from
Is
the
it one of those things they
February
kind of threaten every year? It's one of those things they threaten every year, and then they released a couple of half-assed items that were kind of a damp squib to kind of to just kind of satisfy the appetite.
So from the early 1950s until 2009, the Department of the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defence documented and investigated reports of UFOs. Now more than a decade after the programme ended, many of those formerly classified files about UFO sightings will be made available to the public for the first time. Oh, so I imagine that means they're releasing new footage, which they've sanitised. Previously, some MOD files about UFOs had been published online in the UK National Archives website. However, all of the agency's UFO reports will be released this year on the dedicated Gov UK webpage. So that's what's new. A spokesman for the Royal Air Force told the Telegraph. It's a spokesperson, but
actually, it's a spokesperson.
Or why can't we just call them like they don't say chairwoman or chairman? They just call it a chair. So why can't we just call it a spokes?
A spoke.
Yeah, a spook for the British Royal Air Force told the Telegraph.
Probably is a spook as well.
Yeah, it is. The decision came after PA Media. Oh, Patriotic Alternative are in this.
All right.
British News Agency filed a request for UFOs under the Freedom of Information Act. Wow. So, maybe I'll think twice about Patriotic Alternative. We need to find about these UFOs coming over here illegally and overstaying their visas.
These UFOs bringing their aliens into our country.
They're coming over here, raping our crops with their circles.
They're coming over here, putting anal probes in our men.
subscribe to my Patreon. We can get to the bottom of these UFOs.
I think we're gonna have to talk about animal mutilations, although we might have to do that. No, probably do that next week. So I haven't actually done any.
Is that going to be on the Millennial Woes episode? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Allegedly.
Yeah, I think we might have to do cattle mutilations next week, Hobbit, because I think we're.
Have I just burnt all possible chances of appearing on Millennial now?
Oh, I think Millennial Woes has to be honest.
Oh no! What a shame! Oh no! Oh no! So it would be better to publish these records. Oh, this is what the spoke said. MOD officials decided it would be better to publish these records rather than continue sending the documents to the National Archives. The RAF spook said.
Does this mean they're going to get rid of the originals and post the doctored ones to the website? Is that what they're saying? Because I should think they've been looking for an excuse to get rid of the originals, haven't they?
Yeah, that's it. It's probably just, there's like, okay, we spent 10 years sanitizing it all. It's now ready to be released to the public, and it'll be blurry smears and boring stuff. You can't really make anything out. And they won't tie it to anything. They won't say this is related to this thing. This looks like this. This was also reported by the Apollo astronauts as they went to the space, because they were talking about owl-shaped UFOs. But anyway, let's get through this article.
Well, I was just going to drop in a bit of conspiracy theory. The thing is, though, once everything is electronic, things can disappear and things can be altered, can't they? And you can't prove it.
That's the problem. I mean, if George Orwell, Eric Arthur Blair had the internet in his day, I mean, the Ministry of Truth, with its way that it would, it used to just take up all the old newspapers once they were published and burn them all, and then it would release like new ones. And then people, being thick as they are, don't seem to have a memory of more than 2 weeks. So it's easy to sort of say to them, good news, the chocolate ration's been increased from 90 grams to 50 grams a week.
Yeah.
So the last UFO report to be published on by MD dates back 2009, covering sightings that took place from January through the end of November of that year. These included a silver disc-shaped light reported in January 2009, up to 20 orange and red glowing lights reported in June, a large bright silver-white ball sphere reported in July, and 3 blazing gold god rods in a diagonal line in the sky. Oh, sorry, 3 blazing gold orbs in a diagonal line in the sky. I really need to stop reading chat when I'm trying to read a news story. After MOD enacted a policy change on the 1st of December 2009, bloody Americans, the agency no longer recorded.
Right.
Yes, the agency recorded or investigated UFO sightings according to a report. But what they did find, including many recent UFO reports that were previously available only as hard copies, will be published online within the next few months, said Nick Pope, a former UFO investigator for the MOD.
That's who Zero calls Nick Pope the government dope, doesn't he?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Zero's not keen on our Nick Pope.
Oh, is he a bit like that? Who's that leading Egyptologist?
I think Zero actually said he wanted an online debate with him to tell him he's a fucking liar or something. Have you not heard Zero say this before? No. He said basically what it is with Nick Pope was he says he worked for the MOD, but all he was like a desk jockey or something.
But that's the thing. I mean, with these are gatekeepers, which sort of like, I mean, there was this, I can't remember his name, but it was like the former Egyptian Egyptology minister, and he was like really corrupt, and he was embezzling funds to spend on a horse. So they eventually ousted him in 2012 or something. What's it called? He was really holding the lid on what could and couldn't be studied, because there's some fascinating tunnels underneath the Sphinx and between the pyramids, and he was just putting the kibosh on all this further research into it because it was going to challenge the existing narrative of slaves built it in it. You know, they're quarrying this stone from hundreds of miles away and putting up there. But that's for another episode. That so anyway, Nick Pope, the UFO dope, is another gatekeeper, glow in the dark faggot.
What's that?
Yeah.
Who's sorry?
So, Nick Dope. Nick Dope.
Nick Pope. I think he calls him Nick Pope, the government dope. I think is what he calls.
Yeah, that's it. I quite like the comments on this. I mean, Blue Sky says, "I truly wonder how long this UFO truth embargo can continue, and I cannot believe some people still question the existence of this phenomena. I mean, with all the information and history available at everyone's fingertips, and still 100% depend on the mainstream media
The
or an
mainstream
official explanation."
media.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's.
I think my personal, I think I don't know where to put it here or the wrap up, but like my personal theory on UFOs sightings is there have been so many. There's so many. Like say like 99.999% of bullshit. There's still a fuck ton of like stuff that he still hasn't something to it.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So much of this stuff is chaff. It's just it's a false positive, or you know, it's quite mundane when you look at it. But that doesn't discount the actual real, like, hey, something's going on here. That this is interesting. And this is my problem I have so much of the world, especially with the debunkers, as they seek to make the world a mundane, mediocre place where nothing's interesting. And so I'm not having a go at Ian. Because let's face it, the evidence he showed was compelling. It's a load of cobblers, isn't it? The Nessie thing. But there's so much in this world where it's just like, well, you don't actually know that, but you're just saying, no, it's definitely this way. There's nothing to see here. Move along. And it's like, no, don't do that.
If there really is nothing to be said, then why does it move along?
Yeah. Yeah. There's just so much.
They've got a new excuse. Have you read the? I'm having a look at the. I was going to have a look at that Wikipedia page I found. Reported UFO sightings in the United Kingdom. We can have a look at that if you want. But they've got a new excuse now. Yeah. It's Chinese lanterns.
Oh yeah, of course. I love Chinese lanterns. They're great for sending up into the sky on the not windy day.
They're even better for coming down and setting fire to people's houses, aren't they?
That's like happy accident.
Have you seen any of the accidents that occur when Chinese lanterns come back down?
No, I haven't really.
Yeah,
but it doesn't stop me from.
It's not good. It's really not good.
Well, the main thing I saw about Chinese lanterns is they were saying that that when they're landing in fields, cows were eating them because cows are dumb, and they were getting like metal hoops inside them. So that's why the ones that are made now, if you can still get them, that is, they are they're all sort of like paper design.
That's better anyway. I mean, if you just set fire to it, you don't need metal in there, do you?
No. And the thing is, why would you have metal in their place? Because that metal, by its design, is quite what's the word I'm looking for? Tough, heavy. Yeah. That's it. It's heavy. Yeah, you don't want that.
They need a full. So that's what they've said. So how far do you want to go back? 12th century.
Well, start with that.
Yeah, 1113. This is from religious pilgrims in southwest England reported seeing a glowing, fire-belching dragon emerge from the sea, flying into the air and disappearing into the sky. They're saying
that's not a UFO. Then they identified it as a. I mean, Hemi, come on, you got to shape up your ideas here. If they say it was a dragon, it's not a UFO, is it?
Fucking Wikipedia dickheads, aren't they?
And you call yourself a paranormal investigator. I want my money back.
Well, I know what it is. I know what it is. It's a dragon, don't they?
It's a dragon.
They did put dragon in quotation marks, so maybe that's their get out.
Fuck you, Wikipedia.
Actually, I put dragon in quotation marks, so it's not identified.
I hate you, Wikipedia. You're basically just saying that 12th century English travellers are an unreliable source.
Why? I'm not going to finish it, but Hates Peach said, "What's woes in Rendlesham Forest?"
The Rendlesham Forest incident sounds like one of those sightings of Bigfoot.
Those sightings of millennial woes.
Oh, I was going to say, it wasn't a sighting of Bigfoot, it was a sighting of Godrod.
Godrod. A glowing rod in a forest. Oh dear, let's get this back on some sensible ground. Have you got the Wikipedia page open? Links in the chat. Hobbit, you still there, mate? Hobbit, you there? Hobbit. Well, don't go silent on me. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to... What the hell is going on? Okay, I'm confused. I can't hear Hobbit at all. I don't know if he's still there. Hobbit. Hobbit? What's going on? Can't hear nothing. Hold on.
Hello?
Oh, that's better. I can hear you now. What happened there?
Oh, it leaves on the line. Internet took a shit.
Oh, okay, then no problem. I was getting a bit worried. I didn't know if it was mine or yours.
Well, I was just saying about 12th century English travellers spotted Godrod in Rendlesham Forest, and then you went quiet. And I thought, oh no, I insulted our...
I've done did upset him.
Yeah.
Live stream abduction, Jim Cook says.
I finally found Hemi's line and I crossed it. You can slag off our birds. You could talk about the 4x2s, but don't you insult the Godrod.
So January 12th.
We love our woes.
January 1254, St Albans, England. A scribe wrote of glowing floating light and thus recorded it. In serene sky and clear air, with stars shining and moon 8 days old, there suddenly appeared in the sky a kind of large ship, elegantly shaped, well equipped, and of marvellous colour. 1290, which was a good year. Friars of Byland Abbey described of a flat round shining silvery object flying overhead of them. However, this report is a hoax perpetrated by 2 teenagers in the 1950s. So what's the point of putting that in then? I don't know. Is this more complex than I thought it was? The 2 kids from the 1950s travelled back to 1290 and did a hoax UFO report. That's not very well worded, is it? Again, don't you just love badly worded stuff?
Not particularly, because it gives me a headache.
So two teenagers travelled back in time and did a hoax UFO report.
It's conspiracy like, we're going to make this really shittily worded and get the grammar and syntax all wrong. That'll fuck with Hobbit when he reads it.
Yeah. And then why is it in reported UFO sightings? Because it's not reported, because it's a hoax.
Rumours of me being kidnapped by Iranian dolphins and taken away in a UFO is just a blatant anti-Semitic canard.
Oh dear. Let's have a look. Have you had a look at a few of these in here, Hobbit?
No, because my internet took a shit. Egyptian board game. Oh, it's history of it. So best UFO sightings.
No.
Videos and count.
In the episode channel for this.
Yeah, reported UFO sightings in the United Kingdom.
No, it's the Wikipedia page, second one down.
Yeah, that's it. So we're in the 20th century.
Yeah.
Any
of these take your fancy?
I mean, one of the things that they mentioned in 1942, and that's like the earliest of the 20th century stuff.
Yeah.
Do they talk about Foo Fighters? Um,
Well, you've got 5th of August 1944, according to records released on 5th of August 2010. British wartime Prime Minister Winston Churchill banned the reporting for 50 years of an alleged UFO incident because of fears it could create mass panic. Reports given to Churchill claim the incident allegedly involved a Royal Air Force reconnaissance plane returning from a mission in France or Germany towards the end of the Second World War. It was over or near the English coastline when it was allegedly suddenly intercepted by a strange metallic object that matched the aircraft's course and speed for a time before accelerating away and disappearing. The plane's crew reported to have photographed the object, which they said had hovered noiselessly near the aircraft before moving off. According to the documents, details of the cover-up emerged when the man wrote to the government in 1999 seeking to find out more about the incident. He described how his grandfather, who served in the RAF in the Second World War, was present when Churchill and US General Dwight Eisenhower discussed how to deal with the UFO encounter. The files come from more than 5,000 pages of UFO reports and letters, and it's awful, isn't it? 5,000 pages of UFO reports and letters and drawings from members of the public. Why is the grammar so bad? I mean, I'm not even that good at grammar, but I know that's bad.
I know. I mean, the thing is, like, the chat are not interested. I mean, they've gone Godrod mad.
They've picked the God roll up and are running with it, are they?
They've picked up they've seized the Godrod by the warts and all.
As well as questions raised by members of Parliament in the Parliament of the United Kingdom, they are available to download for free for a month from the National Archives website. Well, that's fucking gone. That's long gone, I assume, then.
I mean, we got yeah. So the next one he's talking about is 1st of June 1950, a Gloucester meteor. Oh, it's actually spelled Gloucester like that. Okay.
Did you think that was a typo the first time you saw it then? Mind you, it probably is a fucking typo, isn't it?
But I mean, that's the name of the company. It is called Gloucester Aviation or something like that. That's how they spell it. It's not.
That must be the guy's name then or something, mustn't it?
Or Gloucester.
It's not Gloucester then.
That's it, yeah. Gloucester meteor RAF Tangmere passes a flying saucer lit up with lights. This was described as Britain's first flying saucer. The object was reported to be shining, revolving, and disc-like at 20,000 foot at 14:30 hours, so that's 2:30 to you and I, flying eastwards over Portsmouth area. RAF Tangmere asked the radar station RAF Wartling at Sussex if it had seen the object, and it had on its PPI screen. It led to setting up the Flying Saucer Working Party. I just want to look up PPI screen. It's Plan Position Indicator. Okay, that's a bit different
not the PPI. You know, I'm ringing up to claim your PPI.
Yeah,
PPI screen. No, we're not paying the extra. We're not paying the insurance.
Yeah,
we're not paying the personal protection insurance. Is that what a PPI screen is?
Well, that's it. But I mean, I was talking with someone today about ESP, and it turns out the RAF were selecting candidates for ESP, and my granddad was working on the radar systems. He was able to see a signal and the noise. What he was looking at, I mean, the radar you got today sort of goes round in a circle, and if there's any phosphorant dots, that shows the position of a radar signal. Whereas back then, it wasn't like that. You had to point the radar in a certain direction, and then you looked at the spectrum analysis graph, and if you saw any spikes in there, that was an object either coming towards or away from you. That was a system radar called CH, or chain home. But yeah, I got curious about that because I thought to him, I ought to ask him, hey, did you ever spot any UFOs whilst you were doing your radar stuff? Shall we do the next one?
Don't go silent. Yeah. You never answered.
Well, I was just worried it was my internet again. It's
well, don't go silent on me, Hobbit.
Yeah, 14th of August 1950. A 50-foot diameter disc UFO seen over Royal Aircraft Establishment at 11:27 hours by an experienced pilot, which is Flight Lieutenant Hubbard. He claimed to see another similar object on the 5th of September 1950 at 16:09 hours. And there's a lot of list of like things like this. Operation Main Brace, many UFOs were observed. 19th of September at 11 a.m. Oh, it's not using military time. A silver dish-shaped object followed a Gloucester meteor returning to RAF Top
Oh, they
Cliff.
liked the Gloucester meteor, didn't they? Were they big
Yeah,
Gloucester
yeah,
meteor
yeah.
fans, were they?
Oh, the Gloucester meteor was a jet aircraft fixed-wing thing. And as seen by its observers on the ground, it rotated whilst hovering, then it travelled towards the west at high speed. On the 21st of September, 6 RAF planes followed the spherical object over the North Sea. It followed one of the planes back to the base. It was the front page headline on the 20th of September 1952 on the Yorkshire Evening Press. On 20th of September 1952 on the Sunday Dispatch. More Gloucester meteors, Terry Johnson. Do you have
Terry Johnson? I want to read that one. 3rd of November 1953. Terry Johnson and Jeffrey Smythe, mate. I bet he has a great big tash, doesn't he? The big waxed tash, doesn't it? I bet he looks like Lord Flashart from Blackadder, doesn't he?
one
with a
can
name
only
like
hope.
Jeffrey Smythe, I bet he does, doesn't he?
It's got. I'll tell you what. Did you ever see the film Dunkirk?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it's a good film. I recommend it. Have you seen 1917?
No, I haven't watched that either.
Oh, okay. Well, I watched Dunkirk, and then 2 weeks later, I went to the cinema to watch 1917, and that was right before the lockdown. So I'm glad I did see that. But I took a screenshot of it because there's this a Hurricane pilot or a Spitfire pilot, I can't remember which one it is, and he looks like the spitting image of Rick Mail if he had a haircut. And I was just like, has Rick Mail come back from the dead to appear in this film and also got younger?
Well, I wanted to talk about they were flying a de Havilland Vampire. Wouldn't you like to just say, what airplane do you fly? I'll fly a Vampire.
Well, tell you what, I mean, not only were we the best at shipbuilding, we were the best at what's the other thing? Plane building as well. We built more planes than the rest of the world combined, and we had the best name for planes. I mean, the Americans have got really
Spitfire like a revolution in engine development, wasn't it?
The Spitfire had a lot of good stuff about it. The what was the name of the engine in the Spitfire? Was it Merlin? That was it. But we had great names for our aircraft, and then the Americans just like, it's called the F4. What's this one called? It's called the F14. What's that one called? The F117. What's that one called? The F35. I'm like, mate, your planes are shit. Your names are shit. You are shit. What a shit tier empire.
Hate Speech recommends watch 1944 Forced to Fight.
1944 Forced to Fight. Okay.
Forza says the Fat Hobbit's granddad was around a lot of radiation. Explains a lot, lol.
Yeah, because I mean, he had his children after doing his service, so yeah, he would have been microwaved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why you have your super strength autism? Is it like a Marvel comic?
It just runs in the family, you know. It's the familial trait.
Right. So where were we? So we're talking about the vampire. Are there any more interesting ones in it? This one sounds quite good. 17th of July, 1955 at noon, on King Harold's Way in Bexleyheath in the London borough of Bexley, a 30-foot wide saucer-shaped object was seen to hover a few feet above a street in broad daylight by Margaret Fry and her doctor on a very cloudless day.
Nice.
Car engines nearby to the object stalled. It was seen by around 30 people that made a humming noise and landed at a junction of Ashbourne Road and Whitfield Road. But they were looking for directions, were they? It hovered over Bedenwell Primary School, now Bedenwell Junior School, for around 1 minute, finally shot off into the sky. Another UFO had landed a few streets away at the same time. A similar object had been seen in Bexleyheath in 1952.
Oh, so it came back, did it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So 55. Well, the car engines wouldn't have electronics in them, would they? I'm thinking
They
about
would have had spark plugs.
So do you think that
Oh, well, this
UFOs
is
can
it.
stop the spark, or?
Well, this is a very interesting thing.
Yeah, because it says car engines. I don't know whether it's just because they haven't specified it was just cars, because lorries probably wouldn't be diesel. Then,
they
wouldn't
stop clocks as well, including mechanical clocks. And this, I mean, a lot of people, they speculate about what is it that propels UFOs, because they're silent, they hover, and then suddenly they zip off at incredible accelerations. And what's if there's a crew inside, what's stopping them from being squashed into a pulp as they zip off at speeds of in excess of 10 gravities? Because what a Formula One car or a go kart can go around a corner and it will put a lateral force on when it's cornering of about 2 gravities. So imagine your twice your body weight is you're being pushed to the side. And I think anything more than 4 gravities and you start passing out. That's why they have those centrifuges to test pilots and space shuttle captains.
like in Spies Like Us. Remember
Astronauts.
Spies Like Us with Dan Aykroyd?
No, I don't. But it's been shown a few times
James
before.
Bond.
Yeah,
There was the James Bond one. Do you remember the James Bond one when they put him in? With
yeah. I watched
the
that one. That
G-force
was
thing?
one of the Sean Connery ones, wasn't it?
Was it? I always imagined Roger Moore being in that one, but it's
No, it was one of the early ones because I've been watching
right,
them
okay.
in chronological order, and I got to
That would
the
have
one with
been.
George
Is it
Lake.
Thunderball then? If it was about space and stuff like that, because
I
they're
think it.
driving the moon rovers, aren't they? In that one.
No, that you're thinking of Moonraker, but Thunderball is
No,
the one where
Thunderball.
there's.
Thunderball. They're actually using like space gear to drive around in, aren't they? On Earth,
Oh
like
yes,
moon
yes,
rovers and stuff.
yeah, that's right. Sorry, I'm just thinking Moonraker's the one where they sort of go
Into
around.
space with the pew pew
Yeah,
guns, and the CIA appear with their pew pew guns.
I quite like. I do quite like it, but no, I thought it was interesting because it's like, oh look, there's George Lazenby, and it's like, oh, I haven't seen that because that was on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and then you got what's the one after that? The one you got, oh, that's it, Diamonds Are Forever. It's back with Sean Connery.
Yeah, I don't know why George Lazenby got slated. He's probably my favourite Bond, to be honest, and that's probably my favourite Bond film.
I think one of the reasons that film's never shown again is because it's got the helicopters with a red cross on it, and they're being used in a military action because they're shooting out the side of it. And the Red Cross hold copyright, and they're very stringent on it. They tell any sort of media to change it. So there's games where you got health packs, and they change the Red Cross to blue or something else.
Or green,
because,
isn't it? Usually green, isn't it? Green cross.
Yeah, or blue or green, just a color that isn't red. And I think for that reason, that's why they haven't re-shown that film, because
Well, I mean,
I never see.
but Lazenby got slated. The whole film gets slated all the time, doesn't it?
And it's a good one, but the point.
I don't know why people say it's shit, 'cause it's probably my favourite Bond film.
I mean, I don't know why we went on to James Bond films. What I was going to say about.
I think it was.
That was it.
G-force machine.
G-forces. That's it. Yeah. Well, I can't remember where to read it, but guys in the audience, you can probably search this better than I can. Look for Russian scientist anti-gravity insect shell experiments or beehive experiments. And the way I remember reading it was just he was he wasn't an entomologist, or was he an entomologist? But it was first. It was this Russian scientist, and he fell on top of a beehive which was underground. So he was just laying down, and he felt really uncomfortable, and he felt the humming. But then he observed that his watch had stopped working. So he gathered a bunch of bee carcasses and beetle shells, and he put them onto a board, and noticed that the board, its weight had got lighter.
Mass, you mean? Mass?
No, the mass was the same, but it weighed less.
Oh, right, okay.
And
Because I remember mass was always used as weight.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, the mass of an object is like how much of that object there is, but the weight of it is like how much that is on Earth compared to, say, the moon would be less. But so he did this thing, and then he thought, well, if I gather enough of these beetle shells and stuff, he put it onto a board, and he put like a platform with a stick he could hold on to, and he eventually was able to control it and float in the sky and go really fast speeds. And he said that there wasn't really a rush of wind around him, so he wasn't like flapping around with his jowls open from the wind. But he couldn't record it. Like when he tried to get like even a mechanical like a clockwork camera, it wouldn't record. His clock stopped working. He didn't stop working, so it doesn't seem to work on biological equipment. I always thought it's very interesting with the Terminator films. So they're saying that they can only send organic matter back, which they were kind of loose with, because in that case, so you're saying the Terminator can't wear any clothes because only organic matter, but it's like underlying it's a robot with a skin on top of it. But in that case, how come the liquid metal Terminator can come in and that's got to be naked as well?
That never actually occurred to me before. That's some serious autism hours there of it.
If you haven't done the dope movies and shows about the Terminator films, I need to have a whinge about that.
Yeah,
But
definitely. That makes sense.
My point being is, when he was talking about how these insects seem to be defying gravity, and that could explain how it is that, because we don't have we don't have an aerodynamic theory which explains how creatures like bumblebees or cockroaches can fly in the sky. It shouldn't work apparently, but somewhere it does. But if their bodies were somehow an anti-gravity device, that could explain it. So, but again, he observed the same phenomenon, which was reported in many of these UFO sightings, that it flies overhead.
Isn't it something to do with like my head canon? I mean, I don't have a scientific basis for this, but in my head canon, like the smaller something is, the less pressure, the less force that gravity seems to exert, if you know what I mean. So like if you drop a mouse from waist height, if you look at the equivalent, you're probably dropping it from like 100 foot, whereas if you would drop from 100 foot, you'd be splattered. But if you drop a mouse from that height, then they're not, are they?
It's like if you drop a man from 100 foot, it goes splat. If you drop a horse from 100 foot, it explodes. And if you drop a whale from 100 foot, it's a meat paste. And it's to do with the surface area, weight, and the viscosity of the air. So, for example, you could drop an ant from that distance or a mouse, and it won't cause any injury. And in fact, the ant will probably just float down because its surface area relative to its weight. The force of the air at that speed, at that scale, is going a bit like for a soup. It still floats down, but doesn't really float down with any dangerous. I want to say with that, because you even have spiders which like throw out a loop of silk, and then they just use it like a parasail, and they go floating through the air. I mean, it's possible for humans to do that, but you need a really big thing, and you need to be dragged along by a speedboat or something in order to do it.
Exactly. So it's some sort of gravitational effect, then, isn't it?
But I mean, when it comes to this stuff, I mean, it's consistent with what they said. So I'm not saying that these flying saucers are built out of like hundreds of harvested bee carcasses and hate speech.
Is that where all the bees are going? The aliens are making.
Yeah, that's it.
We've solved it.
Hate speech.
Another one solved, Hobbit.
He said hate speech. He says, this Russian scientist, he got bee superpowers. He went around squirting honey like woes.
Jesus. Any of our regular paranormal listeners aren't even going to know what we're talking about.
Let's just say this episode of Fortean words is going to become very dated in a year's time. It's very topical. Well, I say dated in a year's time. It's going to become quite dated in a week's time.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know. I mean, the God Rod was a thing a year ago, so let's face it.
What's hate speech on about? Stag beetles are cunts. What the fuck?
I don't know. I think the audience, are quite tired and emotional.
they've had a busy start to the week, haven't they? It's been happenings all over the place.
Angelus Patria says Hobbit is a high function artist, has to be said. Thank you very much. I agree that
they're doing puns now.
Millennial woes. You know what?
Should we attempt to talk about UFOs, because this is going really off track now?
I mean, yeah, we could just look, chat. If you're really fascinated in it, and it's so boring, this list. There's a big list of like sightings from the 20th century with dates. Like 4th of February 1977, a cigar-shaped craft is alleged to have landed next to Broadhaven Primary School, witnessed by 14 school children who saw a silver creature.
Did you want to? We both open the MUFON network and do some searches and see what we come up with. So I assume
sorry, the what network?
The MUFON website, the Mutual UFO Network.
Oh, that's what it is. I mean, yeah. What I'm saying to the chat is, look, if you're really interested in these sightings, there's a big list on Wikipedia. But I would hate to do the show if it wasn't for the audience participation, because I mean that's where all the jokes and the bants come from. Well, apart from when you and I say stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, here we go. There's a photograph. Well, I say a photograph. It's a drawing. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put it into the chat, which is there. So it's going to be right at the bottom. And this is from the same Wikipedia article. It's a triangular spacecraft. I say spacecraft. Well, the drawing here says Procyon Recon spacecraft, possibly been seen at the Thames Barrier, Woolwich, SE18. I assume SE18 is the postcode.
Oh yeah, that's quite an interesting looking thing, isn't it?
I mean, when I see these triangular ones and they're not flying saucers, I'm more inclined to believe that that's a human-made object, which is using this electric drive. I say electric drive because they see these three glowing objects underneath them.
What I've heard is, if you can imagine it now, the military have already made it. It's something that I've
No, Fun Zone asks. He says, "Is there a list of Godrod sightings in the 20th century?" There might be a list of Godrod sightings in the 21st century.
Got a WAW notification. What the hell is that?
Oh, I don't know what a WOW notification is, but it says, yeah, the forces. Yeah.
So we're going to try and talk about this Thames Barrier sighting. Try and get this train back on the rails.
Before the Godrod so rudely interrupted our UFO stream.
Before the Jannies arrive.
Yeah.
I don't think there's not a sighting attached to that, is there?
What,
it goes from 2000 to 2004, and that was seen in 2003.
Yeah, so, I mean...
I would have thought they'd put the sighting in there.
Excuse me, chat. Not only am I tired, I'm not emotional.
Isn't there a good video on YouTube about some coppers chasing her?
Well, they're saying it's speeding, so they pursued a UFO. It's like, did you know what speed
and they did
doing?
it in they did it in like the 70s or something.
Yeah, we saw this object doing at least 15,000 miles an hour in 30. So we pursued it. Oh, it's going to be 6 points on your license, mate.
Oh, do you want to watch a quick video since we're flagging a bit tonight? Following account is part of an official report filed by 2 British policemen in October 1967. So I'll put us a little video on.
Just as well, the chat's getting downright sexual. We need to calm them down a bit.
We need to put some bromide in the chat. We need to calm them down a bit, don't we? Right. So. Jesus Christ, that chat. What is going on in there?
I mean, if Woes is seeing this, you can't leave us, guy. I mean, we depend on you.
Right, if I put the audio through, you can hear what's being said.
Good.
Following account is part of an official report filed by 2 British policemen in October 1967. At 4:01 a.m, PC Roger Willie and PC Clifford Waycott spotted
the
a
object
UFO.
was likened unto a cross.
Constable Willie just said, "Here we go then," and we drove off after it, if you know what I mean.
So he's drawing like a long diamond shape.
We're travelling very fast.
So then he's doing like a 4-pointed star.
No sound that I heard at all. There was no outside noise apart from the noise of the car itself.
And the acceleration away from us was terrific. So really, we didn't get under it to hear any sound. So it was just in front of us.
There was no question whatsoever that this was a figment of the imagination. It was definitely there. It was definitely either manned by some sort of being or remotely controlled. It was definitely being controlled to view our car.
There you go. Soon after this recording was made, PC Roger Willie and PC Clifford Waycott were visited by representatives from the Ministry of Defence. The policemen were silenced under the Official Secrets Act, and their report subsequently classified.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's that one.
There we go. Wow, I tell you what, Hemi, there must be like more than a minute delay between what we're saying in the chat, because
Oh god, that's
only
still going,
now,
isn't it? Yeah, I can see
only
it.
now is the video is going. Woe betide the chat. Oh, dear.
Speaking of UFOs, I spoke about this before, haven't I? The Trogs front man.
The drugs front man?
Trogs. You sang
Oh,
Wild
Trogs.
Thing. You know, Wild Thing, you make my heart
Oh,
sing.
yeah.
Yeah, he was massively into UFOs, and he wrote "Love Is All Around Me" that was on what's the
I thought that was Wet, Wet,
what's
Wet.
the Hugh Grant film? No, yeah, that was a
cover of it.
yeah.
Love is on the run. I'm feeling in my toes. It's a horrible song.
Reg Presley, his name is. What a fucking ace name, eh?
Oh, my life. Oh, that's a good reference. He says, "Is this footage from Z Cars?"
Oh yeah, the Zoomers will all get that one.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a very young Brian Blessed in that.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Even I'm not old enough to have seen Z Cars, but I do get the reference. But I've just put it in the episode UFO Sightings channel, Hubbard. We can read a bit about Reg Presley of the Trogs.
Oh yeah, because in a fuck off Independent.
Yeah.
In a field near Silbury Hill in Wiltshire, a new formation of crop circles recently appeared. Small groups of walkers tramped past in the driving rain, barely acknowledging the odd patterns in the corn. Well, then there's spastics. A few years ago, says Reg Presley, a veteran rock star turned crop watcher, these hedgerows would have been lined with tourists, the press and television crews. "Yeah, it's been discredited all by the hoaxing," he admits sadly. "But there's still something going on. 75% of the circles are probably hoaxes. On the nose doing the other 25%. Well, as much as that, he says. And he goes to take a closer look. A fan in an anorak approaches. "Are you Reg Presley?" the fan asks in awe. Can I have your god rod?" Reg signs a copy of a guide to the ancient sites in Britain. Yes, autograph. Reg, whose band, the Trogs, had a massive hit with Wild Thing in 1966, seems surprised by the attention. "Occasionally it happens. The more I get into these circles, people recognise me, you know. It's taken over my spare time. It hasn't yet taken over my life, but there's a good chance it might. It's so bloody interesting." It's all happening at the moment for Reg Presley. He has his own slot on local cable television, The Reg Presley UFO show. Do we have local cable television in Wiltshire? This is independent.co.uk. So what are you talking about with local cable television?
I don't know. What is he talking about?
No.
Local cable television?
No. Give us a minute. Cough break.
Nice one.
Back.
Local cable.
Yeah, well, whatever. So is the
whatever
Reg
these
Presley
people are talking about. Don't you just
fucking
hate? I'll tell you what. I've grown to hate journalists. I think I just took that from you, didn't I? That thought.
Gradually, I began to hate them.
Yeah.
The more
it's not
more
even the lies anymore. It's just the fucking way they write.
I
don't care about the lies anymore. I just wanted to fucking write properly.
I want some. Well, I like that Hawaiian shirt. How much is it?
You got a Hawaiian shirt on yours.
Yeah. Do you see that advert? Oh, sorry, this would be about a minute ago. So
no, I've got. Oh, how well do you know the stand nations? Which one of the following is not a stand country? Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, or Uzbekistan? Is the advert.
Wait. Oh, okay, but no, it was just to the right-hand side. There was like a Hawaiian shirt. I haven't got. So,
no, I've got other stories on the right-hand side.
Yeah, but if you scroll all the way up to the top,
the yellow
how much is it?
Leaves on it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'll have to open the tab. I'm showing everybody.
I want the Hawaiian shirt when I next go to Benidorm or Ayia or I go Ayia Napa.
Shagaloof 2021.
Yeah. We don't talk about Shagaloo. But no, that's the thing. I would like to read some well-written over carefully constructed, sloppily constructed.
Hate Speech says the fan in an anorak was Rose. Tonight.
Weeaboo says, does Rose have a micro penis? Can the penis just this motion? Unfortunately, I've seen the God Rod, and I would say it is remarkably average.
Adamant is the best music nutter, though. You heard about Adamant, don't you? He went into a pub armed with a gun and an alternator.
Well, I like he was armed with an alternator.
Yeah, he was armed with an alternator. I'll dig the story out for Grub and Glory.
Is a claim to fame. Not only did I meet Adamant, but he served me a cup of tea and a penguin biscuit, and I was talking because he wanted to form a band.
Did he have an alternator with him?
No, he was armed with a kettle and a biscuit tin, and he says, "Would you like a biscuit?" I was like, "Oh, can I have a penguin?" So I had a penguin my tea. Not only that, I helped him find a bassist for his band. So
did you say Goody Two Shoes? Did you call him a Goody Two Shoes?
No, because I don't know anything about Adam and the Ant.
Or was he Prince Charming?
Oh, Prince Charming, Prince. I know that song.
Goody Two Shoes is another song of his.
The nice thing about being a millennial is that I don't know any of this Gen X or Boomer rock, so I was just like, oh yeah, you were in a band.
Nationalist has an opinion on UFOs. He says UFO product of Hindi masked race fake off.
You bloody bastard! UFOs shown in Vadronana. You ask Brutus. Your chariots which carry Shiva across the cosmos. You bloody bastard! Oh yeah. The chat's wanting to know how much, because it is a top shirt. How much was it?
Have I got to have a look?
It's more interesting in this article.
Jesus Christ.
But whilst you're looking at that, I'm going to read the rest of it.
It disappeared the second I went to click on it. It disappeared. Bloody bastard.
I mean, it must be the one time in the past 20 years I've actually clicked on an advert or asked someone to do it, and it's
Did you click on it?
Yeah, but it doesn't work.
All the adverts have changed. I might have.
I'll have
to flick back up in a sec.
Yeah, I don't have adverts on mine, but anyway. So he says, performed by Wet Wet Wet. I knew it was on the soundtrack of the film Four Weddings and a Funeral, but I just didn't realise who did
I always imagine Reg Presley. He goes, I knew it was on the soundtrack of the film Four Weddings and a Funeral, but I just didn't realise it'd do what it did. I wrote that bloody song down in about 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, because I was using the strange out heroin voice. I just imagine he's got some
sort of Cornwall Norwich accent.
That 10 minutes is about to make Reg Presley a good deal richer. Though he insists he is comfortable enough without it, he plays down recent reports that suggest he could earn pounds 1 million in royalties. Oh, you fucking kill UFOs! If you're around, can you come and like anally abduct these
really
journalists?
Fucking wreck his sphincter when you anal probe him. Just fucking fist arm up to the elbow.
Don't use any lube when you do it either. Yeah. Just go in dry and make them try to explain to you what this sentence means. Right. Oh, there it is. New chic. That's it. Oh, sorry. This is from like 2 minutes ago. So anyway,
it's showing there, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm going to audience, try and wrap your head around this sentence. He plays down recent reports that suggested he could earn pounds 1M in royalties from Love Is All Around. It might make me pounds 500,000.
Has it been is it dictated? Is it some sort of dictation program where they talk it and it dictates?
I think it's the diversity hires, that Rakesh is buying.
Because that would be £1 million. That's why I'm wondering whether it's some sort of voice to text.
It doesn't even have it. Well, this is why I'm thinking it's Rakesh with his 194Q write this article. Whatever the figure, he already knows how he plans to spend it on finding out what the men in spaceships are trying to tell us with those confounded patterns they keep leaving in the corn. Reg, 51, wears shades and a navy blue blazer that hides a generous paunch, while his hands glitter with gold rings. Are we talking about UFOs? Are we talking about Reg's appearance? His gravelly voice is testament to his habit of 60 or so silk cut a day.
60 silk cut? What a guy. He could have had 20 Benson and Hedges and it'd been just as good.
Oh, Benson and Hedges is kind of like the Carling of cigarettes. They're so bland. I remember I smoked a Benson and Hedges once, and I'm like, I'm actually smoking or anything, or am I just like breathing through a piece of filter?
Well, you know what silk cut is, don't you, Hobbit?
Silk cut is what Siggy's fag smoke, isn't it? It's just...
Yeah, they're heavily filtered.
Yeah.
Silk cut's like a really heavily filtered one. It's like that's what I mean. Those 60 silk cut, he could have just had 20 B&H and saved himself some money, couldn't he?
Well, he's got a few coins to rub together, so I don't think he's hard up for cash. But anyway, let's try and wrap this up because it's almost 9 o'clock. Yeah. Back then, he was Reg Ball, a bricklayer. He still likes to keep his hand in. He's built his own garage and a barbecue area. They have a daughter, Karen, 30, who's a beauty therapist, and a son, Jason.
To speak to managers.
Yeah. And Jason, 25, an air steward. Brenda, he says, regards his UFO mania with bemusement. She knows I'm dead keen on trying to find out what's going on. She sits there trying to keep her feet firmly in the ground. He reckons his first close encounter with the crop circle came at the age of 7 as he grew up in Andover. We were playing and decided to go on the plantations, ironically known as the Plannies, a small wood where we used to cut our arrows and things. I remember coming across something in the field. There were two gangs and we played. Did he
grow up in the fucking mid 15th century or something?
Yeah.
Going playing on a plantation and making his own arrows? What the fuck?
This is what we were doing in the 1950s. This is
the fucking 1350s.
He moved to London. No, that's when they were spotting dragons. Yeah. He moved to London when the trogs happened, but he didn't like it much. I quickly realised it wasn't a good place to be. I'm a country boy at heart and I like the laid-back way. Oh, you know what? He's probably not. Oh, actually, well, no, he smoked silk cut, so that is his voice. Wild Thing was a massive worldwide hit. Rich tells a story a photographer once told him. He was in with these people going up the Amazon to go through the jungle and make contact with this tribe. They said the best thing they could give the chief was a battery for the radio. They gave him the last one. He said he tramped 4 days, 4 nights until they finally made it to the tribe. The chief met him and then gave him the battery. He had the whole thing tried around and put the battery in. It said, "Damn, Wild Thing." Reg erupts into throaty laughter. That song got our names right across the world, but money-wise, we were on such bad deals in the 60s, it wasn't very lucrative. Since then, we got ourselves together and we didn't get ripped off so much. The trogs have been going on and off since then, slogging away at clubs. Other band members, guitarist Chris Britton,
bassist. Are we talking about crop circles or the fucking trogs?
I know, that's why I'm trying to auctioneer, machine gun it off. Yeah. Pete Lucas and drummer Dave Maggs all live locally. They had a brief comeback 2 years ago when they made an album with R.E.M. and now there's Red's #1 hit. The royalties which he gets them... Yeah. The royalties, when he gets them, will help fund his preoccupation with extraterrestrials. He estimates he currently spends pounds 5,000 a year on his hobby. I know.
The
I
Independent
know.
is supposed to be a British publication, for fuck's sake.
And is a member of the group Circles Phenomenon Research, but he says he needs to pay for helicopter surveillance lines and travel to the world's UFO hotspots. I looked at my first confirmation in 1990.
Through that for? He's talking about UFO.
Oh yeah, this is when he's actually talking about. I looked at my first crop formation in 1990, and after I was hooked when I was young and studying to be a bricklayer with all the arches and things we had to draw at college. That gave me an insight to know there was no ordinary wind damage. I knew there was something more technical there. If a circle was absolutely perfect, that's one thing, but these were slightly out of true, elliptical, but only slightly. When a new circle appears, he and other crop watchers move in, measuring, taking samples of the crop and sending them off for analysis, and taking aerial photographs. Rich has had files at home on UFO sightings and has spent many a long night camped out on the hillsides in rolling Wiltshire, watching the skies. 2 years ago, he says he saw one in the Vale of Pewsey. I filmed a UFO across the valley. It was a light the same brightness as a star. It was a light the same brightness as a star, but it was going down in brightness, then up, very slowly, moving across the valley, about 3 miles from me. Then all of a sudden it came up 5 miles brighter, and it changed to orange. It remained stationary there, no noise whatsoever. I don't know what it was. The next day there was
a crop. So we saw a sodium light coming on.
Yeah, man. It started off as pink, but then it turned to orange. It was spooky. It was silent. The next day there was crop formation just where this thing had stopped. A triangle shape with circles on the corner. Reg Presley believes they are messages from outer space. Clues in the corn. He gives a graphic example. A 200-foot-long penis turned up in the crop formation just by checkers. Everybody laughed, so did I. What happened was, it was like this. He takes my notebook and executes a sketch of a penis and testicles. It went like that. 1 week after what appeared near the Prime Minister's home, we discovered that the American male had lost half of his sperm count. 2 months after it came out, we're losing it over here too. I don't believe that crop formation was a hoax. I think someone was trying to tell us something. But he is just warming up. Later in the car, as we search for more circles, he continues. People abducted in spaceships. The repetition throughout the solar system in stone ruins of the angle 19.5 degrees. Governments, including our own, covering existence UFOs and sending out agent provocateurs to misinform the crop watchers and so on. Zero, if you're listening to the chat, tell me the significance of 19.5 degrees because it's not tying into any numbers I know. I try to keep an open mind on it. But from all the information coming in, it's pointing to one huge big cover-up for some reason, says Reg devoutly. Would he relish a close encounter? I hope I will have a ball to go through with anything that happens. If they travel millions of miles, I'm sure I'm not going to be put on my running shorts and trainers and run the other way. Talk of visitors from afar brings back the story about the Amazon tribe. Perhaps any alien visitors he might meet will have heard wild thing too. I wonder, he says seriously. Eyes focused on the horizon. The whole thing's bloody weird. Oh, it is the Independent with their shilling for shekel. No one tells us what to write, nor how to write, so we'll never tell you what to think. Subscribe to the Independent. Voice you can trust.
We done now then, Hobbit. We've done 2 hours, haven't we?
I am starving and I need a wee, so how to stop dogs barking?
Yeah.
How to stop dog barking.
I don't know, but we know Brutus is on Sunday, so I'm sure everyone will be watching the next episode of it.
I wonder if I can get an in, but now he's the big bollocks. So
how about this one? My life says in the chat 10 number 6.
10 number 6.
Yeah.
10 number 6.
Number 6 is that Benson Hedges?
Oh, yeah,
6.
they did have a writing on it, but it's been so long. I mean, the thing is, I used to smoke Benson Hedges when they were offered to me, but
what about Embassy number 6, isn't it? Is it Embassy number 6?
Yeah, I think that's it. 10 of the number 6.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Alec Hiddle says Reg Presley replaces Millennial Woes as new patriarchal alternative spokesman. Oh no! Don't bring Reg Presley down to their level. I like this guy. I mean, just because he speaks like that, you know, we all got to have our voices.
Is that how speaks we think?
Oh, you know, when you smoke 60 silk cuts a day, your throat does get a bit tight. Oh, but you know, I'm watching my tar weight get the low tars.
Right, that's us all done. Night all.
Good night.